You woke up alone in the depths of Castle Ravenloft. The last thing you remember was when the man with the piercing eyes and long cape approached you on the dark street outside the inn. It had to be Count Strahd, the vampire. Outside the castle, you know the sun is high in the sky. Now you have to find your way out of here before the sun sets and Strahd returns to finish whatever foul plot he began last night. Welcome back to my next playthrough series. This time I'm going to be doing a Castle Ravenloft board game series, the Dungeons & Dragons adventure board game. And we're going to be doing Adventure 1, which is Escape the Tomb. So we have woken up here. Strahd must have hijacked us and brought us here to his crypt. And we need to get out of here before the sun sets. And he wakes up, tracks us down, and puts a snack on us. I'm not going to go over the rules, really. They're not that complicated. There's a sequence of play. We have a hero phase, an exploration phase, a villain phase. We'll get right into the gameplay and you'll see how that works pretty easily. We can look at the miniature for Strahd, who we are trying to escape from. So when he wakes up, he's going to try to chase us down and take us out. And now we're just going to quickly go over and we're going to have a look at Allisa. I'm playing the Human Ranger for this mission. It's a solo mission, the Adventure 1 in the Castle Ravenloft. And then we'll go over her abilities, and then I think we're just going to get started right into the gameplay, because there are about, again, 500 videos on the Adventure board game series of how to play. You'll see how to play very quickly once we begin. So let's go take a look at Allisa, the Human Ranger, and see what her abilities, hit points, and things are. We'll discuss that when we take a look. Okay, so here we have Allisa. I'm not going to lift up each card. We'll look at the cards individually as we play the game. So we start the game with 2 healing surges. Those are used when you get knocked out in the game and they revive you. You get 2 of them. So we have Allisa the Human Ranger. It says, you are a master of bow and blade with keen senses and dungeon skills. You are determined to stop the evil of Castle Ravenloft. And she has 8 hit points, so I just use the hit point tokens. I put them on her card. If she takes damage, I flip them over. They have a little red blood symbol on the back of them. She's a scout, so she is a master of explorer. It says, during your exploration phase, you can explore one unexplored edge of your tile, even if you aren't adjacent to it. Normally, you need to be adjacent to a tile to explore off the edge of it, but her scout ability allows her to explore an unexplored edge no matter where she is, so that's pretty cool. Her powers, she was able to choose 1 Ranger utility, 2 at-will powers, and 1 Ranger daily power. So quickly to go over them, she has 2 at-wills, 1 utility, 1 daily. And you also start the game with a treasure item, and it has to be an item. There are different cards in the treasure deck. So you go until you get an item. So she's going to be starting with a potion of rejuvenation. It says, use this item during your hero phase. You can flip up one of your used powers. So the daily power and the utility power, you flip them over when you use them. The potion of rejuvenation lets you reuse a power. So she's going to be able to use one of those twice during the game. Her at-will powers. She has a careful attack, which is just 1 adjacent monster takes 1 damage. So by carefully attacking the monster adjacent to her, she will do 1 damage. And a lot of monsters in this game only have 1 hit point, so that is a good way to just get rid of them. She also has a hit and run ability. It says attack 1 adjacent monster. Hit or miss. You can place your hero on any square on your tile. So it's a +6 and does 2 damage, so that will allow her to hit harder if she gets any 2 hit dice monsters. Her utility power is unbalancing parry. Use this power when an adjacent monster hits you. You can just say the attack misses instead. Place the monster on a tile within 1 tile of you. So that's like an automatic dodge. And then she has attacks on the run, which is her daily power. Move your speed, attack 2 monsters that you were adjacent to during the movement. So if she can sort of start adjacent or move adjacent to monsters, it's kind of a drive-by attack. So attacks on the run, it's a +4. It does 2 damage if she hits, 1 damage even if she misses, but you flip it over after you use it. So your at-will powers always stay in effect. They never get flipped over, but the utility and dailies do get flipped over. And with all of that said, I'm not going to show you the monsters because they will come up with the monster cards. We have an encounter deck which has been shuffled. We have a treasure deck which has been shuffled. We have a monster deck which has been shuffled. And the dungeon tiles, what I've done is you're supposed to take 10 tiles, shuffle them up, and then put the escape tile at the back of it. So basically we're starting in the crypt. We need to escape. We need to find the secret staircase exit. So that's a pretty obvious thing for this scenario. We need to do that, and then Strahd will probably wake up at some point and take us out. So let's take a look. There's a little timer track at the bottom of Adventure 1. And so we're in the morning is when we wake up in the crypt. The sun token begins here, and every time we get a tile with a white arrow on it, we're going to move the sun tracker 1. When the sun tracker hits here, Strahd wakes up. So that's how we're going to start. And so let's just begin. Let's go over to Strahd's crypt, where we woke up from this horrible abduction, and let's begin play. Alright, so we begin in Strahd's crypt, and I guess we will look at this a little bit more closely on the first turn here. So the hero phase is the begin of the turn sequence. If you have 0 hit points, use a healing surge token if one is available. Well, we don't have 0 hit points, we have all our hit points, which are 8. It says perform one of the following actions. You can move and then make an attack. You can attack and then move, or you can make 2 moves. So that is basically what you can do on the hero phase. We are starting out in the crypt here. She has the scout ability, so she can scout any area without having to be on the edge of it. But you know what? She's going to go this way. She has a movement speed, I should mention, of course, of 6. So she can move 6 spaces on a tile. So she's going to go 1, 2. So she has plenty of movement to get to the edge of this tile. And then from there, that's basically her hero phase. She had nothing to attack. She can't move. Well, she could move twice, but there's really nowhere for her to go right now. She needs to explore an edge. So we get into what is called the exploration phase. And there's handy little cards that explain everything. It says, if your hero occupies a square adjacent to an unexplored edge, go to step 2. Otherwise, go to the villain phase. Well, we're going to go to step 2. She is on an unoccupied edge, but her scout ability, she didn't have to be. That's her special ability. So we're going to draw a dungeon tile and place it with its triangle adjacent to the unexplored edge. So we're going to take the top tile off the shuffled dungeon tile stack. And we're going to have a look at it. Okay, and it's a white triangle. So it is going to point towards the area that she was adjacent to. So we get a little sort of T intersection here. And let's take a look at the next thing. Now, there are 2 types of tiles. Ones have black triangles and other ones have white triangles. And of course, when we get a white triangle, unfortunately, the sun tracker is going to move 1 space. So now we're at 2. Yeah, we don't really want to get a lot of these white triangle tiles. We don't want Strahd to wake up too quickly and then hunt us down. So unfortunately, it's a white tile. Now let's carry on. It says, next, we draw a monster card and place that monster on the new tile. All right, we have a shuffled monster card deck, and I'm just going to draw the top monster card off of that. And we find it is a wolf, and the card itself has all the tactics for what the wolf is going to do. So, we have a wolf in play. So, we grab the wolf miniature, which is really cool, and it goes on the bone pile to designate that it is in this area. So we've explored here, and now there is a wolf. All right. And the last phase of a turn is called the villain phase. And it's right here. It says, if you don't place a tile during your exploration phase, or if you placed a tile with a black triangle, draw an encounter card. Well, we have a white triangle, and we did explore, so we do not have to draw an encounter card. And believe me, encounter cards are bad news. If a villain is in play, activate it. Well, Strahd is not awake yet. He will be our villain. He is not in play, so we do not activate him. Now we must activate each monster and trap you control in turn in the order you drew them. And that will be then, of course, the end of the turn. So we do have a wolf, a monster in play. He has an AC of 14, 1 hit point. It says if the wolf is adjacent to the hero, so it gives you a bunch of if statements and you follow the tactics on the card. Well, the wolf is not adjacent to our hero. It says if the wolf is within 2 tiles of the hero, well, it certainly is, it's within 1. It moves adjacent to the closest hero and attacks that hero with a pounce. So it has two different attacks. It has a bite, which does 2 damage. It has a pounce, which is +7 to hit. It does 1 damage, and you become slowed. All right, so it's going to run here, and it's going to pounce at Allisa, our human ranger. It needs to roll a 20-sided die, of course, to attack. And it's going to get +7. Our armor class is only 15, so let's hope it rolls really badly. And he rolls a 6. Wow, this is good for us. 6 and 7, of course, is only 13. Our armor class is 15. It pounced at us, and we dodged it. It missed. So a good start for us. That's basically turn 1. All right, and so what do? Is we just continue on in doing another turn. So we're going to continue here. I'll do one more turn, maybe 1 or 2. We'll see how far we can get here. So we start, of course, with the hero phase. And the first thing we can do is we can either attack and move, attack, or move twice. Well, since we have the wolf right beside us, and it happens to be only a 1 hit point monster, we are going to use our careful attack. And it just says 1 adjacent monster takes 1 damage. Well, guess what? We do a careful attack, we kill the wolf, and so this monster is no longer in play. And you'll see here at the bottom it says 1 experience point. This is how we gain experience in the game. So we're going to keep a pile of that. And if we draw a black triangle tile, and we need to draw an encounter card, if we have 5 experience, we can cancel an encounter card with 5 experience. Of course, we only have 1 right now because we killed 1 animal, wolf, that only had 1 experience for us. So that was our attack. Now we can move, and we can move up to 6 spaces. So let's just tile that over and go 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, Allisa does not need to be at an edge to explore, but I see no reason why we shouldn't. So that is basically, she's attacked and moved. And now we're into the exploration phase, and we're at an edge. So what we do for the exploration phase, of course, first thing is we draw a tile. So here's the next tile off the top of the stack. This time we get a black triangle, and it's a huge open area. So put that there, black triangle, and we place it. And then we draw a monster card for this location. So monster card, what do we get for a monster? Ooh, we get a wraith that has 2 hit points. Wow. Oh, and it does a lot of damage if it hits you. That's not good. So we take our friendly neighborhood wraith here, kind of cool translucent plastic wraith, and it is right there ready to come and snack on us. Now, because we drew a black triangle, yes indeed, we need to have an encounter. So off the top of the encounter deck, we get an event. Cowardly Flight. A monster flees from you to seek help. If there are no monsters in play, discard this card. Darn it, there is. Draw a tile from the bottom of the dungeon tile stack and place it adjacent to an unexplored edge that is closest to the active hero. Place the monster closest to the active hero on that tile. Place a new monster on that tile. Do not draw an encounter card. Discard this card. Wow, so that's a pretty sad encounter for us. So we're going to take a tile off the bottom of the dungeon stack. And so we're doing that off the bottom. And we have to do it closest, the unexplored edge of us. So we basically have 1, 2, or 1, 2. I'm going to place it here because this is just as close as this unexplored edge. And so, trying to go back and read the card properly, place the monster closest to the active hero on that tile. So this monster goes on this tile. And then we place a new monster on that tile. Wow, and we don't draw another encounter card. So it goes, I guess it ran down this corridor and got some help from its rat swarm. So we have a rat swarm that it went and conjured up. So here's our rat swarm. So we'll put that also on the tile. And now we could be in a bit of trouble, but possibly not, because we're 1, 2 tiles away. So after we've done that, that was our encounter card. There's no villain in play. Strahd is not awake yet. So now we go into the activate monsters, and we activate them in order. So we're going to activate the Wraith first. So let's take a look at his tactics. If the Wraith is within 1 tile of the hero, well, it is not. Otherwise, a Wraith moves 1 tile closest to the closest, moves close to the closest hero. So it's going to move 1 tile to here. So it ran back, conjured or got ready with the rat swarm, and is coming back to get us. But we are 1-2 tiles away. So now let's take a look at the rat swarm. The rat swarm says if it is within 1 tile, it is not. Otherwise, it moves 1 tile towards the closest hero. So the rat swarm is coming as well. Now they can be anywhere on the tile because they move by tiles, and our heroes move by spaces on a tile. But for the monsters, it doesn't matter basically where they are on the tile. Well, I guess it does matter, because if I put it here, we can attack adjacent monster, but I don't think it's going to go. That's a little bit, not cheating, but I mean, you can put it on any square, but we're going to leave it there. And that will basically be the end of another turn. And I think it's a pretty good opening video. I think it's probably gone long enough. We'll continue right into it when I come back for episode 2. So this is Castle Ravenloft, the board game. Come out 2010, so quite a while ago, from Wizards of the Coast, I believe, is the ones that put this out, indeed. We're doing Adventure 1, Escape the Tomb, so we need to... oh, and when this gets placed, sorry, this tile does not activate the sun marker, because it was a special one off an encounter card, not one we drew from exploring. So just, you're thinking we need to move the sun tracker once more, we don't have to. All right, well, anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Join me next time for episode 2 of Escape the Tomb, the Dungeons & Dragons adventure board game, Castle Ravenloft. All right, thanks for watching, and catch me next time.